You were listening to a Nerd Room podcast, a member of the Star Wars Commonwealth Podcast Network. Be sure to check out more from the Star Wars Commonwealth on the web at starwarscommonwealth.com and take your first steps into a larger world. Hey everyone, and welcome to the Nerd Room. We talk all things Star Wars, Marvel, and DC. This is episode number 130, where we're discussing the start of production on Episode 9 and wrapping up our SDCC 2018 discussions with a little Marvel talk. I'm one of your host, Tim.
And I'm Sunjay.
No Troy this week. We continue the musical chairs of the Nerd Room. You've heard Troy and Sunjay. You've heard myself and Steve Kirk. You heard an episode of Detours, our newest podcast is dropping on this feed, and this week you've got Sunjay and I'm excited to be back at the table. It's the first time we've recorded back in the Nerd Room in almost a month.
Wow, it's been that long?
Yes, it's been that long. I'm back from vacation. It was one hell of a time.
Yeah.
But I'm excited to talk nerds. So much has happened in the meantime, in the absence from the Nerd Room. Yes, we have been keeping up with things as best as possible, but we got a whole slew of things to talk about this week, and I cannot wait to get into it.
Yeah, it's fun. Welcome back. I'm glad you enjoyed your vacation, and yeah, it's good to be back in the Nerd Room, and let's do this thing.
Yeah, I'm really feeling a good vibe for tonight.
My
really looking
man.
forward to got that Aquaman. We're going to discuss that a little bit because you and I haven't had a chance to chat. But first things first, off the top of the episode, we have two very big announcements with regards to the Star Wars Commonwealth. First off, we'd like to welcome a new member, a 10th podcast to the Star Wars Commonwealth, and that is the Retro Inc. podcast. Now, this is coming from two people that we know from TSW VIPs, that's Adam and Andy. They've got a rockin' new podcast out there. They're dropping 2 episodes a week. And
Holy smokes.
Yeah, it's big time. I don't know even how they find the time. Really great stuff. It really fits into another niche part of the Star Wars Commonwealth. Yes, they're talking Star Wars, but they're talking a little bit of everything with regards to geekdom, to nerddom. So make sure to go check them out. Give them a follow on Twitter, and you'll be seeing all their credentials fly up on StarWarsCommonwealth.com within the next few days when I have a time to sit down and actually do it all. But make sure to go follow them. They're on Apple iTunes, they're on Podbean, all these different forums where you can find podcasts. But really great stuff. So guys, welcome to the Star Wars Commonwealth.
Yeah, welcome. You guys are going to enjoy it. I can't wait to listen to your podcast, and the 10th podcast, and there's 10 Star Wars movies, so, you know, I think that's not a coincidence.
Not a coincidence. We're keeping up. Almost one a year, so we're getting there.
Yeah,
we're getting there.
We're going to be in a little bit of trouble when the Disney streaming service comes on, but
Big time. Big time. And another little bit of news from the Star Wars Commonwealth. We'd also like to welcome 2 more Knights of the Commonwealth. One is Corey Riley. He was nominated by Generation X-Wing. I have some interaction with him on Twitter. Lots of fun. So welcome to the Star Wars Commonwealth. And also the big one for last week was Matthew Salvador. Now, he was, I think, originally introduced by Tumbling Saber. They did mention him as well, announcing that last week. But also Steve Kirk from San Diego Sabres mentioned him last Monday on their podcast. And we would like to take this opportunity to welcome Matthew officially to the Star Wars Commonwealth. Now, he has been a big contributor, a big guy on Twitter that we talk to and interact with almost on a daily basis. He's got that amazing stop motion Lego YouTube channel. We'll make sure to link that below. And yeah, I'm so excited that he is part of this bigger group now, officially. He's always been part of it, but now he's got that title of Knight.
Yeah, welcome Corey, welcome Matthew. Matthew, you know, I love your Lego stop animation videos, and I love that you're one of the many supporters of Batman v Superman. So you got my back on that movie, so I appreciate that, and I'm looking forward to seeing more of your Lego stop animation videos.
Yeah, awesome.
So
Go give those
welcome.
guys a follow. Like I said, I'm going to link them below so you can make sure you get on board with all the Knights of the Commonwealth. And like them, if you're a contributor in a very positive way to the Star Wars community in general, or to the podcast, the Star Wars Commonwealth in general, you too can be knighted as being part of the Knights of the Commonwealth. And we're working in the background here because coming with the Knights of the Commonwealth, not only in title, there are going to be some perks that we're going to be revealing over the next few weeks that is going to come with that title. So you get a few extra things on top of us having to call you Sir, as we call Sir Grabs.
That's right. Sir Grabs, Sir Matthew, Sir Corey.
Yes.
Yeah.
All of them. And I have to mention here, Grabs, we do apologize. Your question will be aired next week once we have Troy in the room. We're going to save it when we get back to full basics here in the Nerd Room. You're going to hear Grab's contributions again on a weekly basis starting next week again. So we do apologize for not having that in here. We've got a lot to catch up on here, and we want to make sure that we have all three of us to hammer out those questions because we do have an absolute blast with them.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, now that we've got all the house cleaning out of the way, we got some catching up to do, my man. Let's get into our weeks in Nerd, because it's been a little while since I've discussed this, and I've done a lot of viewing different films. I've been reading trades. I've been going and doing a lot of behind the scenes on different films, so I'm excited to talk a lot about that, but I gotta hear, man, what's going on in your life? What's going on in your nerd world?
Yeah, it's a busy week. I mean, we got back-to-back big releases of steelbooks coming up. We got Avengers Infinity War and Deadpool 2.
Yes.
So that's my wallet, R.I.P. But just catching up on Wonder Woman comics. I've been reading that. Catching up on the new Justice League by Scott Snyder, which has been really good. Just watching a lot of great movies as well, just really diving deep into broadening my horizons of films. And, it's funny because I have so many movies, but there's always like 3 or 4 that I'm constantly like, I should watch this. So I'm really trying to stay away from those 3 and 4 because I've seen this like 30 times. So like, let's watch something else.
Yeah, I have the same problem. I have a tendency to constantly go back to MCU films or Star Wars films. Just an easy fallback.
Oh, yeah.
And I've done the same thing as you. I've been trying to broaden out and catch some movies that I've missed over the past couple of months because I've had the opportunity to get to the theater, because we've been going to MCU films, Star Wars films, these big tentpole films. Mm-hmm. And so I got to watch Jurassic World and Ready Player One while I was away on holidays. My dad and I went and watched Jurassic World, or I guess Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom.
Yeah.
And I caught Ready Player One last week. So I got to talk about Ready Player One really quickly here.
Okay.
Really enjoyed the film.
Nice.
I thought it was an absolute blast. It wasn't as epic as I thought it was going to be.
Okay, yeah.
But I love the Easter eggs. I love the basic concept of the film. I thought it was really well presented. Mm-hmm. The whole story in itself, it was really great. Spielberg did awesome. The visuals were great. So overall, I really thoroughly enjoyed the film.
Oh, yeah. That film is so rewatchable. I mean, I saw it on the Thursday, and then I went the next day on the Friday and saw it again. Yeah. So I really, really loved it. Like, right now, that's number 1 for me of the year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's just something, it's just like, it's the simplest story. It's not like too overly complicated.
It's a bit predictable in parts.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But it's like such a great, like, it reminds you of like your childhood days, those movies like The Goonies or something like that. Like Spielberg really captured that nostalgia in that film.
And he's quite good at that.
Oh, yeah.
I think my biggest problem actually was the lead. I don't know.
Oh,
the
okay.
actor, I didn't find him incredibly engaging.
Yeah.
I don't know what it was. He was much better when he was in the Oasis, but outside in the real world, I don't know what it was. His delivery of lines or something. I just was never enthralled with him. I was more enthralled with his supporting cast, particularly the female lead. She was really great.
Yeah.
And what's the Z or?
Oh yeah, Z. Yeah.
The one, the Iron Giant and all that.
Oh
right?
yeah. I
love both in and out of the Oasis. I thought they were great. So great supporting cast. And the villain, what's his name from Rogue One?
Oh yeah, he's also from Dark Knight Rises.
Yes.
He's in all our favorite genres. He just needs to make an MCU appearance, and he's got the trifecta.
Then he's got it going on. Wow, we could nominate him for being the. But I don't know what it was about him. He was another one that he just was kind of flat for me.
Okay.
I found him. Again, it came with the engagement. I was never really connected to his story. I just felt like, he just wanted to be rich and powerful. And that's fine. I get it.
Yeah.
But I don't even know. I guess you need some sort of antagonist in there.
Yeah.
I was hoping, and I haven't read the book or anything. Maybe he's better than the book. But it could have been just a race for something. I really don't know. I enjoyed the film, but those are the two things that kind of fell a little bit flat for me.
I thought he was hilarious because he was such an idiot, and like his password was Bossman69 or something. I laughed in the theater, but I think I was the only one who laughed.
Maybe that was it. Maybe I just didn't feel like he was there intellectually.
Oh yeah,
like he just kind of was a bumbling idiot. He never felt like a true threat. So I don't know. Anyways, I don't want to be negative on that because I did really enjoy the film.
Nice. Okay, so now we got the second one, Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom.
Yeah.
Let's talk about this because this one we got to unpack a lot of baggage with this film.
Yeah. Giver, I'll let you lead this one because I want to know what your opinion is on it because you kind of teased it 3 or 4 episodes ago.
Okay.
And you're waiting for my opinion here. So I want to hear yours here first.
Okay.
And then I'll see because I have a feeling I know where you're going with it, but I'm not sure.
Okay. So minor spoilers, or I'll try to stay away from spoilers as much as possible, but judging by the box office, everyone in the world has already seen this because it's pulled in like $1.2 billion, which is insane. This one, I didn't like it as much as Jurassic World, but I probably would like it more than, I do like it more than Jurassic Park 3. Jurassic Park 2, I don't know. I'd have to see that one again. It's been a while since I've seen that one to compare it, but it's in that range. Some stuff I really liked, like the special effects were fantastic. The dinosaurs have not looked as good until since the first one.
Yeah.
They had looked really good. The story just went sideways for me. Like you have this one setup, you're in the island, you have to rescue the dinosaurs, and then you take dinosaurs and you make a haunted house movie in this mansion. And some of the stuff with the dinosaurs seemed so far removed from what the franchise started off as. You had a dinosaur, and this is spoilers, not really, but I think it's in the trailer, pulling the covers from a little kid and smiling and human interactions like that. Yeah. And I was like, is this human? Is this dinosaur part human? And the ending, I don't want to spoil it, but it involves a certain young girl, and she makes a decision that I was in the theater at the very end. I was like, why would she do that? And why are they okay with her doing that? So I was like, she just, I don't know. It was, it definitely is a gap film because I think the
100%.
Third one is going to be really cool. And you have dinosaurs loose in the world. And, as you said, you've always talked about that being the end game that you really wanted to see.
Yeah.
So I think this one was a gap film, but maybe they didn't even need it. It just seemed like maybe an unnecessary film, but it's fun. It shut your brain off. It just wasn't my favorite movie of the year for me, but it still had fun.
Yeah, it's interesting because that's more or less where I thought you'd go with it.
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing for me is it felt like a very small film. Mm-hmm. Well, we're used to these big epic pieces in that Jurassic franchise.
Yeah.
This really scaled it back. And not so much to tell a personal story, but just to tell a smaller story. And I think your point about being a gap film is very much true. Mm-hmm. Because it just felt like it was wrapping up a couple plots. It gets, we see this in the trailer, so spoilers, but it gets rid of the island. Yeah. The dinosaurs come off it. So it felt like they wanted to do something else, but they needed this kind of bridge film to get them there. The characters that we know from the previous film, I like seeing them back.
Yeah.
I'm happy that they've basically said, or I don't know if they've said, but maybe no more genetically modified dinosaurs. Let's just go with your old classics, which they've clearly alluded to. But overall, I think it was fun. My dad and I liked it. It wasn't the best Jurassic film, but certainly not the worst.
Yeah. I mean, I think to me, the first one, even though it's junk science, Hollywood science, but it made sense and it was a believable film. That exact scenario, I think could happen. This one here, I was just there's just so much stuff. The one part that I laughed in the theater is when they were doing the auction.
Yeah.
And then they had, the people that they had were such caricatures of villains.
Russian mobster.
Yeah. He's 20 millions or something, or 5 millions. I was like, that's all it takes is just 5 million for a genetically modified dinosaur?
I agree. It didn't seem like that much.
Right? I mean, not that we have.
More expensive.
Yeah, right? 5 million. And then the total was someone brought this point up online. I think it was Grace Randolph. She's the total money that they raised from the auction was 95 million. But the movie itself cost $200 million to make, so it costs more to make a movie about dinosaurs than actual dinosaurs. I was stuff like that. But as I said, it's fun. But I mean, of course, nothing will ever compare to the first one.
No, and like you said, you got to shut your brain off when you go into the theater. This is what it is. But I'm really looking forward to what they're doing next. They set a lot of plot devices up that are meant to get you to the third act of the third film type thing.
Yeah.
And so I'm looking forward to hopefully what they do next. Based off the box office, there's no way they're shutting this franchise down.
Oh, hell no. Yeah, there's probably like 3 more sequels coming.
Yeah,
They'll get like
really.
a spin-off of Blue or something.
Yeah, exactly. But anyways, I think, at least for our Weekend Nerd, I want to kind of wrap this up with 2 different things here. I want to give a shout out to Steve Kirk, who was on the podcast last week. Thank you very much, first of all, for coming on the podcast. And secondly, I did get my Funko Pop, my SDCC 2018 Marvel Studios first 10-year exclusive Funko Pop of the Iron Man Mark 1. Now, it's here, it's in hand, it looks gorgeous. I'm so pumped to have this in my collection. It's such a unique piece. It's one of a kind. Well, I'm sure there's hundreds of them, but it's a one-of-a-kind pop available at a one-of-a-kind convention. So, Steve, thank you very much for that. This is going to take a prominent place in my collection. And I like having, like I said a couple weeks ago, little pieces of memorabilia that actually mean something, that connect to something, connect to a friend that we have down in Steve Kirk and San Diego Sabres. Check him out on San Diego Sabres Radio Podcast and also in last week's episode.
Yeah, that Funko Pop. I'm not a big collector of Funkos, but that looks amazing. I mean, if I saw that on the shelf, I'd pick it up.
Yeah, the Mark 1, fantastic stuff.
Oh,
really
yeah.
the kickoff to Marvel Studios. That Iron Man film, this is the first Iron Man suit we got. The first superhero, really, in the MCU, and it's represented beautifully here in Funko Pop form.
Gotta love those Funkos.
You do, and gotta love
Give
something
us free
else
stuff,
here.
Funko.
Yeah, really. Last thing I want to talk about here, comic books. Now, I caught up on a ton of trades while I was away. I caught up all the Black Panther, which is all incredible. I got to read a lot of the Infinity stuff that's going on right now, Countdown to Infinity.
Yeah.
I caught up on all the Thanos books as well.
Ooh.
So it's all really great stuff. And this week dropping into comic book shops, I just wanted to give everyone a heads up about this. Fantastic Four are back. The #1 issue by Sarah Pichelli and Dan Slott.
Oh, Dan Slott.
Dan Slott is writing it. So that is coming, landing on shelves in the comic book stores one day ago if you're listening to this podcast right here on Thursday. Now, this looks pretty exciting. I'm definitely hitting the shop to grab this. As well, next week, or this week, sorry, the Fortress Vader arc in the Darth Vader Charles Soule series starts tomorrow. Starts, I guess, a day ago. Issue 19 of that. And this is going to be an absolutely incredible. He's been teasing this for months now. I cannot wait to get my hands on this. Is there anything in the comic book shop you're looking forward to this week?
Absolutely. You got Batman 52, which came out last week and I forgot to pick up. But I just have a bunch of stuff to go back. I've been slowly picking up and reading back issues of a bunch of books that I'm catching up on. Finding that time, making that time actually, stepping away from my movie watching addiction, as you will, and reading some comics. And I'm enjoying it. I'm getting more back into it. I really love the comics. The one thing is, though, you know, the twice a week from DC is a little much.
Yeah, it's a lot.
It's a lot to catch up on, and I understand why they're doing it, but, you know, I don't want to, say, give me less comics, but, you know, when you read 4 series and you're once a month, you only have to read 1 book a week, you know what I mean? But now it's only an extra book a week, 2 books a week, so it's not that much more, but it adds up. And
It does.
two a week, and then you got your special events, you got your crossovers. I mean, the Watchmen series is coming out once a month as well. So it adds up. I'd like to see them go back to once a month, because then maybe I'd pick up a book of a Green Lantern or a Flash again. So
Yeah.
broaden that horizon of the superheroes. But yeah, as of right now, I'm still trying to catch up.
Nice. Yeah, it's exciting. I always love New Comic Book Day. And
Yeah.
It's a lot of great stuff. The Captain America series is awesome going on right now from Marvel. So my whole demeanor towards Marvel has dramatically changed from what it was a year and a half ago. If you remember, if you've been listening that long, I had a really hard time jumping into some of these books. But now I've got my pull list is back up to around 8 or 9 books.
Wow.
It had dropped down to 3 at one point.
Wow.
And it had originally was at 20. So I'm kind of liking this. I'm maybe shooting for about 10 books a month or so.
Well, you could pick up a Batman or a Justice League.
I gotta find some space for it.
Maybe a Flash.
I don't know. We're gonna talk about Flash here in a few minutes, so
Yeah.
I might need to get my Flash viewing up. Let's see what this DC universe
Well,
does.
hopefully not those Flash viewings.
Ooh, maybe. I don't know. Ooh, my.
Well, I'm the only one in the room here, so my shorts are kind of short, but
Not that short.
you
You keep
have
yourself.
Thanks, Tim.
Um,
We went way off topic there.
a little tangent there, but I might use the DC universe or the DC streaming service to jump into some comic books with the digital reading there that you guys discussed a few weeks ago.
That's right. That's right. It looks pretty cool.
Yeah,
you can read comics on your 4K TV.
Yeah, I'm really excited about it. It might be a good, like we had said in the past, a good jumping on point for people. Like, let's consume a bit of DC universe in the sense of film, TV, and maybe the comic books. If I can get it, if I'm paying like whatever is $10 a month or whatever, I may just jump into that because that's like a couple books, right? If you think of it from a comic book perspective, like really in Canada, that's 2 books.
Yeah, with the foreign exchange, yeah.
Yeah, and so if I can read some bigger trades and some bigger stories, it might help me kind of get into DC a little bit more, or at least understand some of the history when it comes to, like, I read stuff like Quarter Owls and The Killing Joke and all that, some of the big classics, but jumping into some other stories on some of the side characters that I don't know as well, like a Flash, even like a Wonder Woman, that I haven't concentrated very much time or reading on in the past. I've really just consumed Batman and Superman stuff.
Oh, they're the 2 best?
Yeah. Well, they're the big ones, right? They're the easiest to, I guess, I wouldn't say relate with, but I understand the character enough that I don't feel the barrier for entry to be too high. Yeah. I get the origin story, where Wonder Woman's a bit more complex. I kind of get it from the film, but it's something I'm kind of excited to do with this new streaming service.
Yeah, the one thing I'm really excited about this streaming service is if it's a hit and say like DC gets like a couple million subscribers a month, it's $10 a month. DC's going to be making that extra coin, and with movies coming out, there's a lot of pressure now because there's basically the home market for videos is half or like a third of what it was, maybe even like a quarter of what it was 10 years ago.
Yeah.
So, there's a lot of pressure now on the movies to come out and perform well at the box office. The streaming service does well. DC is just going to be hungry for content to give fans and to give viewers of the subscriber service. So, a film that maybe doesn't do so well in the box office, but it becomes a hit on the subscriber service, hey, maybe they'll get a sequel. Whereas now if a film comes out and it isn't a hit in the theater and, people find it, they're like, oh, it's really good, it doesn't really get picked up for sequels anymore.
No.
So that's something that I'm really excited for. And not that any of the films, I'm saying that they're bad at the box office. They've all done quite well, but just something that if it happens in the future, DC's just like going to give us more and more content because you got to feed us, the content with Netflix and Disney and all these other Hulu, all these other streaming services. You always got to be churning out that fresh and that good content.
Yeah, and DC seems to be really picking up the pace as of late because in the news over the last few weeks, we've got some confirmation or at least some very heavy rumored ideas that a few films are either in active development or ready to go into production, and that is Supergirl, Flash, and Birds of Prey.
Yeah.
So this all fits within the box of the DC Extended Universe. And this also is being run in parallel with the Joker stuff that's going on. So there's a lot of things in active development, but beyond that, I guess I'm going to say in air quotes, active development, it's the start of production that's a bit more exciting. Some confirmation or at least some heavy rumors that these films are moving past that active development phase, which we've seen a lot of these films kind of stuck in for a little while.
Yeah.
They announced a whole slate. They've really backed off on it. But it seems the streaming service, some of the success they've had with Wonder Woman and even the look of Shazam and Aquaman, it looks like they're finding their footing finally. And it's interesting that these are the 3 films that seem to be getting at least some of the fanfare around the idea that these are in active development. Like no sign of Man of Steel 2, no sign of The Batman, your big tentpole films. But if they find success with a film like Shazam, that could go a long way with some of these other films. Like we seem to be stepping into that oddball phase 2, phase 3 of Marvel where you're getting your Doctor Stranges, your Guardians of the Galaxy, like these type of films that are a bit sideways, a bit less recognizable by the general population. But what are your overall thoughts about these 3 films going to production? Then we can kind of break them down in a bit more detail as to what exactly we know about them.
Yeah, I mean, for me, everything that DC gives me, I'm excited for. I really like what they've been churning out, and it's, as you said, they seem to be really catching that momentum. You have Aquaman, Shazam. I mean, those 2 trailers have had a ton of views on YouTube.
I love the Shazam one. Like,
it's so
I
good.
fell in love. Like, I would have been the first person to tell you a couple weeks ago,
Yeah.
before that trailer dropped, that I have zero interest in this film. Like, I
Yeah.
have no idea who the character is. It seemed like a pretty goofy concept, but that trailer absolutely nailed it. I'm a day one viewer of this film now.
We're going to see it IMAX day
Yeah.
one?
Yes, we are. Up
All
at your
right.
place. We'll make the trek up.
Let's do it.
Yeah, I'm super excited about this.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people are, and I think a lot of people are going to be surprised at how well this movie does because, it really caters to kids, but also caters to adults, it caters to teens, it caters to everyone.
It looks fun.
Yeah, I mean, that's the F word in the DC universe is
Yeah.
fun. And I think the important thing is that the tone has to match the character.
Yeah.
You couldn't have this fun movie with Batman, at least
No.
in my opinion.
I don't think you're very much right.
Yeah.
It's the same like in the MCU. You couldn't do an Ant-Man style or a Guardian style film in caps.
Oh
kind of
yeah,
little
that would be
section
so
of the universe.
weird.
Yeah, it would be very weird. So I agree with you. Tonally, they got to hit that kind of right footing for each of these characters. But because now is the time that they're actually introducing characters like Shazam, Flash, maybe this Birds of Prey could go along the same lines. That looks like a rated R flick. But again, sorry, coming back to these three films, what are your thoughts on them?
Yeah, Birds of Prey, Harley Quinn's in it, and Margot Robbie. Suicide Squad is probably my least favorite film of the DCEU, but Margot Robbie and Will Smith absolutely nailed their characters.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see more of Margot Robbie, and you throw in Huntress and I can't think.
Black Canary.
Black Canary, of course. I'm a huge Green Lantern, a huge Green Arrow fan. She, is the wife of Green Arrow, but she's more than the wife of Green Arrow. She's her own superhero. So I'm excited to see Black Canary finally make it to the big screen. I don't watch Arrow, the TV show, so, this is kind of her first introduction in live action for me. And I'm excited. It's going to be like a lower budget, like maybe 50 million, 60 million. And give me like that rated R, that gritty kind of like that BVS style. I think this Birds of Prey would fit really well with that. And then, as you said, you get to the next one, you got Flash. Ezra Miller really played the character quirky. He played him kind of lighthearted, fun, making jokes, making quips, as you will. But so make that tone more lighthearted and fun. And I think it's just going to show like DC Extended Universe or DC Universe, whatever they're calling themselves, can be whatever you want it to be. So, it doesn't all have to be light. It doesn't all have to be dark. It can be everything because DC has so many characters. So I'm excited to see those two films. And what was the third one?
Supergirl.
So Supergirl, yeah. So I don't think there's been any production start date yet, but they're talking about a Supergirl film. So, I mean, if you've seen the first one with Faye Dunaway, hopefully they stay far away from that one. It wasn't the best film, but it was a fun film.
Yeah, the TV shows had lots of success.
Absolutely, yeah. I love the TV show. She's been crushing it on there. Melissa, I can't remember to pronounce her last name. I think is she French Canadian? It's French.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, we'll edit that in post. Tim will just put it in.
Okay, Sanjay.
But yeah, I'm super excited to see Supergirl. She's such a cool character, and hopefully she can step out of the shadows of just being Superman's cousin.
Yeah.
And give her own story, her own villains, and just be a really cool movie. And hopefully they find the right director, and hopefully they have the right vibe. I hope it's very similar to Man of Steel, and maybe this will kickstart Man of Steel 2, because it's kind of the film I'm most excited to see, but it's the one I don't have any indication that it's ever going to get made again.
Yeah, Troy's pretty hyped for that one too. He on Twitter there, I know you had posted that out, and he said, okay, great, give me Man of Steel 2.
Yeah.
So he seems to be really looking forward to that. And overall, like this Birds of Prey film, I'd really like them to change the title to something a bit more obvious, but that's okay. But they kind of threw out a synopsis, or a rumored synopsis.
Oh, yeah.
The synopsis is out there, and it goes, after splitting with the Joker, Harley Quinn, and three other female superheroes, Black Canary, Huntress, and Renee Montoya, come together to save the life of a little girl, Cassandra Cain, from an evil crime lord. And this evil crime lord is now rumored to be the Black Mask.
Yeah, I mean, that's a lot to unpack, because Cassandra Cain grows up and becomes Batwoman.
Yeah.
And CW just announced that there's a Batwoman TV show. So, I mean, I'm super excited to see Cassandra Cain grow and eventually turn into Batwoman in the DC Extended Universe. And Black Mask, I don't know much about this character because I think he's in the Arkham games, and he's in the Batman Red Hood animated version. Upon first look, I think a lot of MCU fans are going to say, isn't that just Red Skull with a black mask on?
That was my first impression.
I think he's more of a crime boss, less Nazi. So I think that's how he's going to differentiate himself. But yeah, he does look awfully similar to Red Skull, doesn't he?
Yeah, a little bit, just in look. Maybe not so much motivations, or maybe dialect.
Yeah, I don't know if he's German or not, but I'm gonna guess not.
No, I'd hope they'd veer away from that a little bit. It looks cool. It looks like I'm excited to see kind of this rated R spin on like kind of a female gangster style of flick. Could be a lot of fun. I wasn't a huge fan of Harley Quinn in Suicide Squad. I thought it was a little over the top. I know that's a bit of the character, but maybe they can ground her out a little bit and have her leading this crew and maybe put a bit more of a supporting cast around her, remove the Joker out of this scenario, and just do something a little different again here. If DC is doing anything right now is trying to differentiate themselves from the other universe, whether that's Fox or the MCU or whatever Sony stuff, and do something different. Shazam is a big step. Aquaman, the first underwater superhero. They did Wonder Woman, the first female-led superhero film in theaters in however long, right?
Yeah.
So really in this kind of new renaissance of comic book film. So this again is another step in a different direction with both Supergirl and Birds of Prey. It's your, let's say, your A-Force or something to that effect that you'd get equivalent in Marvel. But again, DC seems to be a bit more to the forefront at putting, the female-led superheroes to the front of their universe and saying these are the characters we're relying on to extend this out. It's interesting that they're doing it that way, and I think it's admirable that they're saying that yes, we can support a franchise off this, and they've put the Batman, they've put Man of Steel on the back burner for now, because I think it's going to be really fun and really entertaining to watch another different spin on a comic book movie film. It's something we're getting more and more of as we move away from your classic characters towards bigger characters that might have a much more longevity and a much more wider fan appeal than maybe not so much like Batman or Cap or anything like that, but maybe of some of your B-C listers.
Yeah. Oh yeah, like a Plastic Man film,
Yeah.
probably. You never know, but I did have a point and I forgot it.
That's all right. You'll get there. Well, I want to talk quickly here while you're thinking about that about Flash.
Right.
Again, Ezra Miller, I felt he's a bit of a place in Justice League, and that might just be tonal. I think that he's a character that if they have the right writer, the right story, the right villain, they could do quite a bit within this universe. And playing from what they developed a little bit with Captain Boomerang in Suicide Squad, I believe.
Yeah, that's right.
Just giving him some time to shine and giving him a good supporting cast that he can banter with. I think in Dawn of Justice, that's where some of my issues with the Flash were. I kind of like some of his scenes, but he needs someone to play off of, I think. Ezra Miller, I'm not sure if he is at a level where he can carry a full film without having a strong supporting cast. And so if they're able to construct that and pull all that together, I think this movie could be a lot of fun.
Yeah, and the one thing I'm really excited for is to find out who the villain is, because I'm really hoping it's Gorilla Grodd, and they really move forward with this Legion of Doom idea, because you have Black Manta set up an Aquaman, you have Lex Luthor, you have Deathstroke, you have all these sweet superheroes, and that's something we haven't seen in the comic book movie universe yet, is a group of heroes fighting a group of villains.
Yeah.
It's always just cannon fodder, where it's just a robot that seems to go down with one punch, where this would be something completely different, something super cool, and it would really make Justice League 2 stand out as opposed to the first one, which a lot of people is like, we've seen this before with the Avengers. So this, Justice League 2, if they fight the Legion of Doom, completely different. Avengers have never gone up against like a team of villains. It's just been like one big baddie. So that's something I really hope they go forward with, because as much as Justice League didn't do so well in the box office, I still in my heart believe that the potential is there for a $1 billion movie. And I don't think I'm alone in thinking that.
I don't think you're wrong in thinking that either. I think there is potential there. But if they're going to do a Legion of Doom style of film, they have to introduce the villains individually. Mm-hmm. They can't rely on building a story within Justice League and trying to make you care about the villains. You have to understand the villains before going in. And I think, like you said, introducing them in a Flash, introducing them in Aquaman, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, get those villains out there, don't kill them off. You're starting to see the seeds of that sown in the Spider-Man universe, right?
Yeah.
And they got to do the same thing. You have to understand these villains and have at least some engagement or connection with them before stacking them up. You have to know the implications of having that group of characters fighting the Justice League, and how it's not just like, why doesn't Superman just go punch them all in the face?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They have
Right.
to have that active threat, that understanding of how the implications for it and how big it is to put something like that on screen.
Oh, man. And if they do, I really hope they tab Zack Snyder to come back, but I don't think they will, because the man can direct an action scene like no one else.
Just come in as the second unit director to do the action scenes.
Oh, man. That would be such a disservice to Zack Snyder. He is second to no one.
You do love your dude, Zack Snyder.
I do. He is my zaddy.
Your Zack.
As they call him online.
Is that a thing?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Wow.
He has such a huge female following because
Does
he is such a hottie.
He is pretty jacked.
Yeah.
All right, man. I think it's time we move away from DC now before we get on too much.
All right, so I'll see you guys next week.
Sunjay out. Let's look a little at Star Wars. Now, Steve and I wrapped up a lot of the Star Wars talk and fallout from San Diego Comic-Con and that big announcement of the cast for Episode 9. Now, following that announcement was a tweet from J.J. Abrams late last week with regards to the start of production on Episode 9. He released an image, the first image from Episode 9, and a tweet. Now, the tweet reads, "Bittersweet starting the next chapter without Carrie, but thanks to an extraordinary cast and crew, we are ready to go. Grateful for Rian Johnson and the special thanks to George Lucas for creating this incredible world and beginning a story of which we are lucky to be a part of. #9. Wow. So, let's unpack a little bit of that. So last week, Steve and I discussed the idea that Carrie Fisher was going to be in this film. That was huge news. Very excited about that. They're going to go back and use previously unused footage from The Force Awakens. We will update that in just a minute here. But it's J.J. Abrams back helming this. This photo looks really sweet. It's very stylized. You've got a camera. You've got the Roman numerals for 7 and 9 on there, the start and the end of this next chapter, this sequel trilogy. And contained within the film is Chewbacca, Finn, and Rey on the bridge of the Falcon. Pretty exciting to see this, man. What are your thoughts on this? What are your thoughts on J.J. Abrams coming back here and giving us a little bit of insight as towards the start of production on Star Wars Episode 9?
Oh, I'm confused because I thought The Last Jedi killed Star Wars. At least that's what everyone said online.
Well, fortunately, they are very, very wrong.
Yeah. I'm excited. I mean, as I said, I'm excited for every movie until I have a reason not to be, I guess. And, I really enjoyed Episode 7, Episode 8. I enjoyed, but a little less so, but I still enjoyed it. Rogue One, love that. And Solo surprised me how much I really enjoyed that film. Yeah. So, add it. This is really, I think, this film, what it's going to be is it's going to be the capstone to the new Disney trilogy. And, the new cast, Finn, Rey, and Kylo Ren. I think this is the film where they take the baton and they run with it. And, Episode 10, if they do make an Episode 10, which I assume they will.
Well, this film last week came in with that casting news saying that this was the end of the Skywalker saga.
Yeah.
So it doesn't necessarily mean the end of Finn or Poe or Rey, but I would say that spells out some of the demise for Kylo Ren. He's part of that Skywalker lineage.
Oh, yeah, I see.
So that whole story, that whole family, I think, has to come to some sort, at least the story in itself, has to come to some sort of conclusion by the end of this film. And I think that probably means the death of Kylo. Would be my opinion right at the gate.
Now, I'm going to make a bold prediction here, and I'm always right. So I think this film ends with Kylo Ren dying, but we find out that Rey is pregnant with his child.
So you're a Reylo guy.
I think they're going to do the nasty, and she's going to get pregnant. And I think maybe that's what the next trilogy is going to be about, is this finally, I guess that goes against ending the Skywalker saga, because that would be a Skywalker baby. But I think that's what they're going to do, and I don't know. I don't know why. I think it would be a cool idea. It'd be kind of neat. It'd be kind of like going back to the roots, because, the end of Episode 3, we see Luke and Leia being born.
Interesting.
Yeah.
You can at Sunjay at Sunjabi on Twitter. What's
your
thoughts on that? Because I like a good bold prediction.
Yeah.
I'm not one that's on board for that. I don't want to see the redemption of Kylo Ren in this trilogy. I want to see him go down in flames because of the character they've kind of developed here. I don't think there's a redemptive arc for him in there. I know Star Wars, a lot of it's about redemption.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's there for him. And I don't want to see that. I want them to see it go in a completely sideways direction with this character development. But who knows? I don't know. I don't know what JJ is going to do. I think he's going to do a lot of throwing back to, not so much in the same way that The Force Awakens was, but we're going to see a lot of familiar themes, I think, here. He's wanted to conclude this in a big way. It's got to be a film that reunites fandom as well. I'm not saying that he's going to overtly try to appease the fan base or the people that didn't like Episode 8 or Solo or whatever. He's going to do a story and construct a story that I think he is satisfied with, that caps off the Skywalker saga. I really do think he's the guy to do this. And just by the look of this photo, they're all happy. Everyone's laughing. Everyone's having a good time. I think JJ, man, he's the one to bring it across the finish line, and I'm quite excited for that.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing with JJ is, he always starts off strong. I mean, look at the Star Trek films. So he started off in 2009, and then the next one, Into Darkness, people are a little bit more divided. And you look at his TV show Lost.
Yep.
You and Troy were saying, the first couple seasons was phenomenal. Well, at the end of it, he just couldn't keep up that momentum. So I'm curious to see how this pans out, because the first one, I assumed everyone loved. I mean, the movie made a ton of money. I love it. You love it. Troy loves it. We all love it. So the second one, his second time making a movie, let's see if he can keep that momentum going.
Well, the nice thing about this one is that he's had some time to rest, to prepare. He's not on an exhaustive schedule of trying to, churn out these films. So I'm hoping that he can take some of the work and some of the ideas that he had from The Force Awakens originally. And I don't want to see him retconning anything from Rian Johnson, but I want to see him to take his own spin on that Rian Johnson trilogy, or that Rian Johnson story, and kind of cap this off nicely, because it's nice for him to kind of bookend this whole trilogy with a Rian Johnson piece in the middle.
Yeah.
So now going to Leia's story here. Now, we talked about last week the idea that Leia, or Carrie Fisher, indeed was going to be portraying Leia in this film. Now, due to her untimely death a couple years ago, it's not going to be with her acting. It's going to be using archival footage. Now, originally it was released that it would be from The Force Awakens. And now her brother, Todd Fisher, said that they will indeed also be using footage from The Last Jedi. He expressed how his whole entire family are very excited and very much wanting this to happen, her to get that appropriate ending. But this new little tidbit about them using The Last Jedi as well as The Force Awakens could give an indication that we may see a little bit more of Leia than we had initially anticipated. Now, Sunjay, what are your kind of ideas or thoughts on them using archival footage to give Leia an appropriate end to her big arc, her big story in the Star Wars universe?
Yeah, I think that's I really think that's a good it'd Unfortunately, she can't be here for the new film, so you have to use archival footage. Otherwise, it'd feel wrong for her to go out any other way or have her story end any other way if it was just like in the opening crawl or something. Yeah. This is one of the most iconic film characters of all time, and it would feel wrong to have someone else play Princess Leia.
Or them to use a CGI a la Rogue One.
Yeah, right? Exactly. It's sad, but they're making the best out of a horrible situation.
Yeah. And I think JJ, the thing that I expressed last week too, is that I think JJ Abrams is the appropriate person to do this because he worked closely with her. Mm-hmm. He had an idea of what she was capable of, and some of these shots that they did shoot in The Force Awakens, he worked directly with her. Even if they have Rian Johnson kind of working a bit hand in hand with this story where he thought it was going himself and using some of the unused footage from The Last Jedi to help pair up and kind of give a bit more padding to her story to help give us that satisfactory ending, and that ending that character and that actress deserves in this film franchise. So I'm super stoked to hear that they're going to be using as much as possible. It's not just isolated purely to The Force Awakens, but they're also bringing in some of the Last Jedi stuff. So I'm super stoked about that. I think that they are going to do her justice. Her family seems quite happy with it, and I think fandom is going to get really what they want out of that character. She's not going to be absent. She's not going to be, we're not going to walk into a funeral scene or anything like that. We may get that at some point in the film, but it looks like she's going to have a role to play of some sort. Mm-hmm. Now, Keeping with Star Wars here, now we talked about the DC streaming service, and you did mention there as well the Disney streaming service. This is coming sometime in 2019. They haven't been quite clear about that, but we're starting to get real ideas as to what's going to be laid out on that platform. It looks like starting with Captain Marvel, that's going to be the first film that will go onto Disney streaming service, and that'll be the last one. Last one will be, I guess, Ant-Man and the Wasp or Infinity War Part 2, whatever it's going to be, that will land. No, it won't, because that comes before. Ant-Man and the Wasp will be the last Marvel MCU film that is going to land on the Disney streaming service. Or
Netflix?
On Netflix, sorry.
Okay.
And Captain Marvel will be the first one to land on the Disney streaming service and not on Netflix. We're probably going to see a lot of those start to pull away as the rights revert back for, or whatever the distribution deal that they have with Netflix. You're going to see all that shift over to the Disney streaming service. Now, we talked about, in quite a bit of detail already, Jon Favreau doing this live action, the first live action Star Wars show, and that's going to be dropping on that streaming service. Now, the Times did report a budget for this and that it's going to run for 10 episodes. So I'm pretty excited about this 10 episode. I often complain about the Netflix stuff being a bit long. I would like it more around that 8 to 10 episode instead of 11 to 13.
Right.
But the big thing here is the budget. It's estimated to be about $100 million.
Ooh.
So that puts it at about $10 million per episode. Now, just for a relative comparison, the last season of Game of Thrones was, each episode, I think there's 6 episodes, I think each episode was between $10-15 million.
Okay, so it's around the same.
Around the same
less.
as the last season
Okay.
of Game of Thrones. Now, I haven't watched any of that, but I'm assuming there's a lot of CGI in that with the dragons and big epic battles and all that. But this is a good budget. This isn't $1 million budget. This isn't per episode. This is a big budget. And so there's a lot that they can do with that. What are your thoughts, man? Like 10 million per episode, do you think that's enough to give it a Star Wars vibe? To give it, if I don't know if they're going to be using lightsabers or what.
Yeah.
Is it enough?
I don't know, to be honest with you. I mean, maybe I'm being a little bit picky here, but so The Force Awakens or The Last Jedi was probably a $250 million budget.
It probably was, yeah.
For 2.5 hours of screen time. We'll say 3 hours of screen time. I'm assuming these episodes are an hour long.
Yeah, I think so. Probably like 45 to 55 minutes, something like that.
Okay, so 10
hours of.
So I'm just trying to do the math here. So then, that's like $80 million an hour they had on the movies. This is going to be only $10 million an hour.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not like Star Wars, you could do it in space for the cheap. You know what I mean? Like Star Trek, you could, because it's kind of like quaint like that. But Star Wars has to be like epic and grand.
Does it though? Can you scale it back and do a series that isn't that grand, evil, the good versus evil big battles and all that? Like, let's say focusing on bounty hunters or something like that.
I mean, I'm sure there's lots of stories they could do. You definitely know more than me.
Yeah.
Stories that fit,
Maybe.
But the only Star Wars films stuff that I know is just the movies, and all of them are kind of epic in scale.
Yeah, the big scale stuff.
Right. So in terms of like the other stories, I'm sure there could be. But I just don't know what it could be.
Yeah. Well, and I don't really know if we are gonna. Well, we know when it takes place, right? 3 years after Return of the Jedi.
Right.
So we're in a post-Empire world. We're in a world that has Jedi, or a universe, I should say, a galaxy that has Jedi again, that's on the upswing. So, yeah, there's a potential for them to jump into something that might be a bit Jedi-oriented. I'm trying to think what would suck a lot of money out of a budget for something like this. And yes, clearly it's CGI, but what are you going to be doing? If you're doing a lot of, like, Star Trek does a lot of, like, the inside, right?
Yeah.
Inside the spaceships. It's not about the space battles and all that so much with Star Trek. That's on the same scale that you do get in a Star Wars film.
Yeah.
But you need to have CGI character or big battles or something to suck that up. Like, most of the budget, I would assume, on Game of Thrones goes towards the dragons and all that, the big scale battles and the, I guess, crispness of it, the feel. Like, it feels like you watch something like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., it feels like a TV show.
Yeah.
Right? You want this to feel like it's more of a cinematic experience. So some of that could go into just the camera work, the type of cameras they use. You can get away with having a relatively low budget cast and putting a lot of effort and money into making this thing look like it came right off the screen, right out of a galaxy far, far away.
And I guess the thing is, too, each episode doesn't have to be,
that's
spent that 10 million, right?
Yeah.
Some episodes may be like a $2 million budget, and some might be a 20 million. So
yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can spread that out. I guess averaging doesn't really, you're probably opening 2 episodes are probably quite big. Your final 2 episodes are quite big. But yeah, you can have, I don't want to say bottle episodes because that implies that, there's not much going on there and that there's just, like you said, saving money for future things. They've done that in a lot of shows. But they could do things like that where they have much more quieter personal story going on, or something that doesn't quite require a lightsaber or the Force or a big space battle or anything like that. Really knock it back, but still continue that story.
Maybe they'll involve Ewoks.
Who knows? Your favorite.
The Christmas in Endor.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just Jon Favreau doing the holiday special.
That'd be amazing.
In episodic form. No, really exciting things coming out of both the DC and Star Wars universe. We were worried that we weren't going to get the content for Star Wars because we have this big lull. Doesn't look like we're going to have that. Between the TV shows, the Clone Wars saved, and Resistance coming out, on top of all the collecting stuff that we ran down last week, the books, everything is firing on all cylinders for both Star Wars and DC. Now, the other thing that we talk about on this podcast is Marvel.
It's Marvel. I thought it was Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, Lord of the Rings, yeah.
All right, the Hobbit Amazon series.
But you can find Lord of the Rings discussion of the Green Door podcast. Friends of ours, go check them out. Ads and James. Fantastic stuff. If you're looking for everything Tolkien.
That's right, yeah.
Big pump there. Beautiful segue. But let's segue over to Marvel here. Now, we have done 2 episodes. The last 2 episodes has been focused on summarizing a lot of the content coming out of San Diego Comic-Con 2018. We really didn't have a chance to talk about Marvel. And one of the reasons that is because Marvel found themselves fairly absent from the Nexus of Nerd in 2018. Now, I wanted to get your opinion on that. I know, and I want to get Steve Kirk's opinion. He was on the podcast last week. He did have a blurb about that, so I'm looking forward to hearing that from him at some point. But I want to hear your opinion here, Sunjay. What did you think about Marvel's absence from San Diego Comic-Con 2018? Because we've kind of found ourselves, yes, we're getting some insight towards Captain Marvel. We got Infinity War dropping, Ant-Man and the Wasp is still in theaters, but they've been fairly quiet, both from Fox and from the MCU side of things for the last little bit. Now, we're going to talk about the Venom trailer here, but that didn't drop at San Diego Comic-Con. What are your thoughts on Marvel kind of skipping out this year on the big cons?
Yeah, it is disappointing because, one of my favorite things was all the trailers that come out of it, and Marvel is a big part of that. And, I really loved, after the Comic-Con ended, we would always discuss, okay, who won Comic-Con?
Yeah.
We'd be like, okay, you have the Marvel trailer, you have the DC trailer. Oh, did you like this? Did you like that? They announced this movie, they announced that movie. And, with it being noticeably absent, I think it even... DC had a time to shine, but it probably hurt them a little bit as well because if Marvel was there, there would be more eyes on SDCC this year. But because they weren't there, a lot of people that watched nothing but Marvel didn't even pay attention. Well, they probably still, but a small percentage of them probably didn't even pay attention this year because Marvel's not coming, so there's no point.
Yeah. Overall, it felt smaller to me.
Absolutely, yeah.
Like the scale of it. Now, I wasn't down there. We heard from Steve last week, and we're going to hear at some point from our dude Rob Cass about his experiences down there. But it seemed to be much more focused, at least for me, on the toys. We didn't get any big trailers. We didn't get any more insights or announcements. We weren't expecting anything from the MCU, but Fox is kind of shut down. Yes, that Disney deal looks like it is going to go through. It's gotten the approval. Comcast has backed off. So I don't know if they're just putting a pin in that for now and waiting to see what they're going to do. Just cap it all off. The film's done. Throw it out there. But it would have been nice to get a bit more insight outside of Deadpool. What are they doing? Is it our X-Force? So I guess, and I understand that they're in a bit of limbo at this point, but at the same time, I did feel that absence. I got to see some of the legends that they're pumping out here. The new Black Panther wave. We got a T'Chaka, Ulysses Claw, a Shuri, an Unmasked Black Panther, a Dora Milaje Ayo. So we're getting a cool wave there from the Marvel Legends. They're dumping a ton of comic book characters and legends. I'm talking on the order of 10 or 15 legends they announced there. Now, I know Troy's going to be chasing a lot of these. You got characters like Gambit. You've got Professor X in a hover chair coming out of that X-Men 90s sort of look. You've got a lot of, Wolverine vs. Sentinel, big Target exclusive. A lot of Spider-Man stuff here with the new film coming out. Miles Morales getting some of the limelight. You're also getting some of the Netflix characters and exclusive down there. So from the toy perspective, Marvel is still cooking out and still dumping a lot of these legends. But the interesting thing coming out of San Diego Comic-Con is this Hasbro Pulse thing that was announced a year ago, I think, at San Diego Comic-Con, and this interaction with fans and with people and lovers of collecting the figures. They put out this survey the other day that I had the opportunity to fill out, and was really asking a lot of questions about price point, about the detailing on the sculpts. Do you like realistic, like movie style of figures? Do you like more comic based characters? What price point are you comfortable with? Okay. So they seem to be, I guess, understanding that we want, at least me personally, a lot more of these realistic looking faces of the MCU figures. Mm-hmm. I love that they can give all these comic book characters, but I want the MCU characters. So Hasbro, in a sense, at San Diego Comic-Con really is starting to listen, and they always do listen, to the fans of collecting the legends. And I'm excited for that because this Black Panther wave is all MCU figures, which is something that we don't generally get. Mm-hmm. So it was interesting to see that was some of the big news coming out of San Diego, was really the figures and the comic books. Now, I'm not going to talk in a ton of detail here about the comic books, but for me personally, I was a little, I'm not going to say upset, because I enjoyed some of the Star Wars stuff, and Star Wars had kind of a bit of a noticeable absence there, but there was a lot with the figures and books. DC really ran the show there. Yeah. And I guess that's the big benefit. Like you said, that maybe we had less eyes on it, but DC had an opportunity to shine there. Mm-hmm. And Marvel seems to have stepped back for now as they prepare for this next big wave of films in Captain Marvel and Avengers 4. They're obviously going to release that title at some point here in the not too distant future. That movie is got to be close to being wrapped. Yeah. Because they've stopped filming months and months ago. Yeah. But yeah, man, I don't know. It felt a little weird to me that Marvel wasn't around, or at least the film side of things, kind of getting that hype up.
Yeah, I mean, it's like San Diego Comic-Con is like the Super Bowl of nerddom. And, you know, even when your team doesn't make the Super Bowl, if you go to the Super Bowl, you still rep their jersey. Yeah. So, you know, Marvel, it's not like they didn't even have anything. They have Captain Marvel, which is coming out in a couple months. And, you know, we got nothing for it. Yeah. Just some concept art. And that's about it.
They got to be building to something big here at some point, because this whole year has been about Marvel Studios' 10th anniversary. You know, we saw that on the floor, and I saw photos from Steve and Rob. They had a big exhibit. They had all the Cap suits out. They had all the Thor suits out. They had all the, you know, the women of MCU suits out. So a lot of looking backwards still. Yeah. Looking at the past 10 years from Infinity War back. So it's almost time to switch gears here and really look forward in the MCU. And that's something that we still haven't quite gotten yet. It's all about, let's remember what we've done here. And I think it's great. Like, we're starting to see these Marvel 10th anniversary legends drop. You know, Troy's got his hands on both the Red Skull and the Iron Man from Avengers. I'm super jealous. I almost stole them today because I was over there picking up the equipment. Yeah. But beyond that, you know, there's not a whole lot. Like, yeah, there's great stuff. There's a 10th anniversary big book that they announced that I'm going to definitely be picking up. And I love that nostalgic look back on the 10th anniversary, because I respect a lot what they've done, but I also need a little look forward. So I'm just, it's less me complaining and more me hoping for a little more. Like, I'm really excited for this next phase. I think I've had enough time to reflect back on the last 10 years. I'm really looking forward to the next 10 years. That's got to be their next big thing, like Marvel Studios, the next 10 years.
Right, and maybe they're just waiting for that Fox deal to go through.
Maybe that's the big thing, right? What does the MCU look like? And maybe it's less about announcing a film for Fantastic Four, but saying, yeah, they're going to be integrated. We'll let you know when. But that's in my head, the next 10 years.
Yeah, I mean, people are really excited about this Disney acquisition of Fox. And, you know, it's understandable. But, you know, I think there is a little bit of a downside, because I think if Marvel and Disney, if they held the rights to the X-Men and the Fantastic Four initially, you wouldn't have got a Doctor Strange film. You wouldn't have got an Ant-Man film.
No, not at all. And now we get it all. Yeah. So it's actually worked out rather well. But now it's about integrating, and now it's about doing different stories. You need now you need those franchises, because your Captain America, your Iron Man, and Thor, they may be coming to some sort of conclusion. So you need Fantastic Four, Black Panther, X-Men, and all that to helm this going forward. And maybe down the road we can get another Cap, a Cap 4 at some point.
Yeah.
For something bigger like the Skrulls. I don't know what you can do. Galactus, who knows? There's so many, Silver Surfer, there's so many possibilities out there. But yeah, it's to me it was a noticeable absence. It's not I don't think it was a detriment to the con itself. But this is what we do on a weekly basis, and we like to get all that. Maybe it's us being a little greedy, but overall, I think the con in itself, to kind of wrap up our overall coverage, I think it was fairly successful from announcements on everything from the figures, both Marvel, DC, and Star Wars. We got a ton of stuff from the DC Extended Universe, and we got some real great insights as to what's coming next with regards to comic books. So very exciting stuff coming up, and I think that more or less wraps up our San Diego Comic-Con coverage, because like a week later or so, Venom made its presence felt once more.
We are Venom.
We are the Nerd Room.
Right, that's like the next My Man.
My man, we are something. Yeah, we are Groot. But anyways, it's been done. What are your thoughts on this? Now, this trailer dropped about a week or so ago. I didn't really catch it right off the bat. I was kind of away. But the buzz online about it was fairly negative.
Yeah, which surprised me because I actually just watched it for the first time today. Like, it kind of slipped under my radar.
Yeah.
I just been like, I meant to see it, and I kind of watched it, but my daughter was like, what are you watching, Dad? Yeah. So I had to like kind of like, nothing, it's Paw Patrol, go run away.
This guy is on the fly.
Yeah. Just watching it now, I loved a lot of stuff that we saw from it. I didn't love everything, though. Some of the stuff I really love, like, I think Venom looks kind of menacing. He's big. He definitely looks better in this than he did in Spider-Man 3, in my opinion.
Maybe.
Really?
I don't. I have to go back and watch Spider-Man 3. That was one of the biggest things I had issues with in this trailer was the look of Venom.
Okay.
I don't know if the CGI is not done. It just feels... I don't know. When we first saw the original trailer, and it really didn't show anything of Venom.
Yeah.
I was looking forward to it being a bit more of a subtle take on Venom. Mm-hmm. Maybe do the Jekyll Hyde thing. I like the voices in his head.
Yeah.
But this seems like they're going to go all out Venom.
Yeah.
And to me, the CGI really has to be on point. I don't think it's there yet. Yeah. It looks funny when Tom Hardy's head's out.
Yeah, when he like splits it in half. That looked a little wonky.
When he's talking, it looks funny to me. He just looks a bit too big. Now, I'm not a big Venom reader.
Yeah.
I don't like the arms coming out the back. Like, it seems... It just doesn't flow properly. And now that, we're still a couple months out, they still may be touching up the CGI. It looks like there are going to be multiple symbiotes in it. There's a female in there. It looked like Ahmed Best's character. Or Riz Ahmed. Yeah, no, Ahmed Best was Jar Jar Binks. I think Riz Ahmed. His character looks like he's going to be some sort of gray Venom or something like that. Gray symbiote. So I just don't want this to be a cluster frig of a movie, it kind of looks a bit like that to me.
I mean, the one thing I really like is the tone. I think, this looks something different, and I really get Amazing Spider-Man 1 vibes from this. Like, this feels like this could take place in the Andrew Garfield universe, not Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Yeah, I feel you there. But to me, that's not a good thing.
Really, because the first one
was okay. Yeah,
the second one though, but this doesn't look like this. Like the second one can just fly off somewhere. It killed the Spider-Man to Sony universe, which maybe isn't a bad thing because now we got Tom Holland as Spider-Man. Yep. So, but how cool would it be to see Andrew Garfield appear and you could have two Spider-Mans going side by side?
Yeah, I think that's too confusing. The more and more I see of this, the less and less I want Spider-Man to be a part of it. Like, I know Spider-Man's an integral part of Venom's story. Yeah. But if they can get away without putting him in there or maybe referencing it offhandedly, like they can't, this can't be part of the MCU the way it looks.
Oh, no way. But I mean, like Andrew Garfield Spider-Man.
Is that too confusing?
I mean, you look at DC, they're having two Joker movies going side by side.
That's true. I guess it's in their best interest to have as much Spider-Man out there as possible. But I'm struggling with this. Like, the more and more I see it, the less and less I'm impressed by it. Like, the first trailer, it looked like it was really going that horror vibe. Yeah. But even some of the stuff I loved about the first trailer, they've added CGI to the scenes now. Mm-hmm. Big CGI. Yeah. So, to me, for this to really land, if they're going all out on the CGI has to look impeccable.
Yeah.
And it's just not there. I don't know. I don't know what my expectation of Venom is. Right now, I'm not vibing too much with the look, the way he talks, the big chomping motions towards the camera.
Oh, I dig it.
I don't know. And I might be being a bit nitpicky here. It might need to be seen on the big screen.
Yeah.
But Tom Hardy isn't doing for me in there. The that part about the parasite, that was kind of funny. But I don't know. There's something about his portrayal in that I'm just not really on board with at this point.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be interesting to see what Troy says because he's the big Spider-Man guy. But he's not. He said he's not the biggest Venom guy.
No.
So, yeah, I think if this is a success, definitely the avenue to go next step is Carnage.
Yeah. Well, I'm surprised Carnage should be in this film, I think.
Maybe he is.
Well, that's the thing. That would be kind of cool if they've kept that off screen. They're, like I said, they're going with multiple symbiotes.
Yeah.
That is a next likely candidate, which would be pretty cool in the film. But it looks like the main villain is going to be taking some sort of symbiote form. So you're starting to get a lot of symbiotes in here, a lot of different characters. So I really don't know. I don't want to be super negative on this because I do want to give it a chance.
Yeah.
But the next trailer or teaser, whatever it is, I don't know if that was the final, it might have been the final trailer. It's got to really impress.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's gone from a film that I thought they were doing something very unique with and maybe more subtle with the Venom to something that's full-fledged, like Venom's going to be on screen for half the time.
Yeah, yeah.
So, which might not be a bad thing if they tighten things up.
Yeah, I mean, it all depends on the script and the acting.
Exactly. Like, it's hard to tell from what we saw. I think in my mind they showed most of the movie, but I thought that Spider-Man Homecoming was the same way.
Yeah,
to a degree.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Wait and see on this one, guys. Like, I'm gonna go see it in theaters. Like, I think I need to see this unless I'm just off put horrendously by what comes out next.
Yeah.
But I'm at the point where I'm still gonna see it in theaters. Maybe not day one. It's not a Shazam trailer for me or anything like that. But I'm going to say cautiously optimistic at this point.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I'm not like, for me, like the trailer that won Comic-Con for me was Aquaman. And I know, like, just chatting, you think the Shazam trailer was the better trailer.
Definitely. If we're talking about the trailers that have been released in the last little bit, whether it's Venom, Aquaman, Shazam from the comic book universe, I think Shazam is a standout for next year by far. It was a film that I had zero connection to. And so some of these have swapped around, like Venom's really dropped off for me. I was never really fully on board with it, but I was kind of curious about it.
Yeah.
Shazam, I never even paid attention to. We talked about it, but I was like, the suit looked dumb.
Yeah.
Like from the shots that we saw. And you're like, no, just wait and see. Just wait. And you were right, man. Like, it looks fantastic. Like, I'm really excited for that. Aquaman, I'm excited for... What's his name? Khal Drogo.
My man, Jason Momoa.
I'm excited for him.
Yeah.
And I put it on Twitter right away. I love what they're doing with the water voices. They're just ignoring. They're not doing bubbles. They're not doing whatever. I think it's just a simple, sleek way of doing the dialogue underwater and not having to worry about other elements. Let's put the money into the surrounding elements. The part about the Aquaman trailer that kind of threw me off was, I know you want big scale, but all the fish and the sharks and that whole thing, that felt really big to me.
Yeah.
And I don't know what it is about it that bothered me, but it's another film I'm like with you day one. Like, it's your dude, and that's a big part of our world is the DC side of things. So I want to see it. I want it to be good.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I really like that they're going for like the brass ring, or they're going for the gold ring. Like, they could have easily scaled this back, but with a $160 million budget, isn't like it's a ton of money. But like, when you look at Batman v Superman, had a $250 million budget, so they are cutting back. But I think James Wan, like, I just love that he's going for it. Like, Atlantis looks like something we've never seen before. Underwater thing is something that's kind of new. Disney's probably looking at that going, shit, they beat us to Little Mermaid.
Yeah.
And Avatar 2 was supposed to take place underwater. James Cameron's looking at that going, shit, he beat us. So that's something that's cool that I think it's going to be a big hit. I'm super excited for it. It's kind of like my last chance in my box office race to have a big hit, because the other films are just kind of tanking for me.
Yeah, so we've basically seen the trailers now for all of the films. When we're talking about Venom here,
Yeah.
Aquaman until the end of the year for the big tentpole films in the comic book world.
Yeah, I think there's only those two left.
Yeah, and then there's like kind of adjacent like action flicks. You've got like Bumblebee and a few
Oh,
other things,
yeah,
right? And you've
yeah.
got not so much in this world is the Mary Poppins that moved up into direct competition with Aquaman now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess at an anticipation level for 2018, what we've got left, I'm racking my brain here. I'm sure I'm missing something. Or Into the Spider-Verse.
Oh, yeah.
Is another big one. But we've basically gotten ourselves down to 3 big films: Venom, Aquaman, and Into the Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
I'd have to say, in order, I'm probably forgetting one there, but that's okay. In order of anticipation for me, I'm gonna have to say Into the Spider-Verse, Aquaman, Venom.
Okay, yeah, I'm going to go Aquaman, Into the Spider-Verse, because I really liked what they did there.
Yeah.
And Venom third, but I'm still super excited for all 3.
Yeah, I think it's been a good end of the year.
Yeah.
I'm excited. We got the 3 very different films.
Mm-hmm.
We've gotten some huge scale films this past year with Infinity War and Black Panther.
Yeah.
And now it's time to sidestep the genre into something a little different. So exciting times for the nerd world, for the geek world, because as we move into what we thought was going to be a relative lull period, it looks like we've gotten a ton of content to discuss. And going forward, we've got a lot to do as well. We're going to catch up on some of our MCU retrospective stuff, of course, but we're also going to be doing detours, and we're also going to be catching up a bit more on comic books, something that we haven't focused a ton amount of time on in the last little bit. But I want to get back to basics, talking a bit more Marvel, Star Wars, and DC from a comic book perspective.
Yeah, let's do it.
So it's going to be very exciting. Next week, we are going to be back to the normal formula. Hopefully Troy, Sunjay, and myself will all be at the table. We'll be talking to Grabs here. We'll be getting back to basics, and I'm really excited. I'm really feeling like this is a kickoff to kind of season 3 of the Nerd Room, if you will.
Phase 3?
Phase 3.
We need to bring in like a sidekick or like a little green alien that appears.
Yeah, something really off the wall and crazy.
we need to, what do they always do in like TV shows? They gotta do something like super crazy, like a random character that just comes out of nowhere.
Yeah, Sunjay just screaming the whole time. Sunjay's a DC hater now. I don't know, something crazy like that.
We'll see. Maybe we'll get like someone on a unicycle making balloon animals, and you can win a balloon animal every episode.
Yeah, that would be fantastic. It costs a fortune to ship. Sounds crazy. Sunjay, your ideas, man. That's why everything is always so put together here.
Tim always has like this nice outline of stuff, and then I always just like, woo! Like if we ever went on a road trip together, we'd kill each other.
Yeah.
Because you'd be like, all right, let's go here. And I'd be like, oh, yo, world's largest like bowling shoe. I'm like, we have to go check it out. Tim's like, we're making great time, man. Like, let's stay on the road.
That's why I love talking with the 3 of us, because we'll have our own little jobs here.
Yeah.
You're the tangent man. You're the idea man. So you bring the hilarity. You bring the laughter. I love it. I love everything about this podcast, guys. And I hope you do too, because that about wraps it up for us this week. I'm excited to get back at the table next week. But if you'd like to be a part of this show, you can always email us at thenerdroom@gmail.com. You hit us up on Facebook or YouTube, and we're always hanging out on Twitter. Our handles at the end of the episode. You can catch everything we do on thenerdroom.net and Star Wars. Nope, that's a different website. StarWarsCommonwealth.com. And we'll give one last shout out before we wrap the episode up here, and that's to our boy Chop Rules with a Z. There's a very large package here sitting to my left that we're going to open next week. Due to the absence of Troy, we could not open it this week.
Are you talking about me?
Yeah, big package left of me. There you go. There it is. But we're excited to open that. It is the Loophole Mystery Box from Chop Rules with a Z over at Tumbling Saber. So thank you for that in advance, and I'm really excited to see what we get inside this next week. So make sure you tune in for that. We'll be doing that right at the top of the episode.
Yeah, I have a sneaking suspicion I know what it is this time. I thought I knew what it was last time, but I was... Oh. That's my phone.
Sanjay's parents are calling. And we were going to wrap it up with that. All right, guys. Until next week, for the Nerd Room, I'm Tim.
And I'm Sunjay.
And thank you for entering the Nerd Room. This has been a Nerd Room podcast production. You can find our hosts, Tim, Troy, and Sunjay on Twitter at TheNerdRM, TroyTheBoy87, and Sunjavi. For more content from the Nerd Room, check out thenerdroom.net. And don't forget to subscribe to the Nerd Room on iTunes, Podbean, and YouTube. Be sure to head over to StarWarsCommonwealth.com to find more podcasts in the Star Wars Commonwealth Podcast Network, including Talk Star Wars, Tumbling Saber, Generation X-Wing, Rogue Squadron Podcast, Skyrims Podcast, and San Diego Sabers. Follow the Star Wars Commonwealth on Twitter at SW Commonwealth and take your first steps into a larger world.